Yeah, pull Coach Sweeney here and try not to talk for a half an hour. I can't do that. But, I've jotted a few notes because I do think it's important to talk a little bit about this year and where we are and what we see happening in the future. Last year, really proud of our team. Man, last year was hard in a lot of ways. New roster. I think the first thing is to just remember that, hey, we were coming off an NCAA tournament. And I think sometimes the COVID NCAA tournament almost doesn't have the feel that some people remember because we didn't have sellout crowds and all those things where everybody got to see all those games. But that team was really, really good. And Amir Sims was a fantastic player. And I say all that because I think I knew, number one, PJ's a really good player, but we only played him 9 or 10 minutes a game that year. And he had a lot to learn. But we knew when we kind of were building our team for this season that, hey, we got some holes to fill with Clyde and John Bear and certainly Amir, who I thought was one of the best two-way players, a guy who plays both ends of the court at an exceptionally high level. So I knew there would be some hiccups, bumps in the road at times. And we played like it at times, but I thought we really got better and finished the year winning 5 out of our last 6, back against the wall in some ways. PJ Hall playing with, essentially a spot on his foot, hot spot the whole year, and can't practice, but 20 to 30 minutes every once in a while the day before a game. Hunter Tyson breaks his clavicle when we're starting to kind of turn it around and play well after we had a great win against Florida State. We lose 6 in a row, without him in the lineup, and that was impactful. But our guys didn't give in, man. They didn't give in. I'm really proud of them. We lose the game at Louisville, and the first play of the game, we run a play for PJ, and he scores, drop step. Looks like an all-conference player laying it in. We get a stop. Second play of the game, we come down the court, throw it to him in transition, and he's down, right? And it's this one isn't good. And we ended up losing the game, and Ben Middlebrooks and Ian Shefflin go in the game. Ian was probably playing a little bit already because Hunter's out. And our kids play their tails off. We lose at Louisville 70-61 or something like that. And I remember walking in the locker room and really challenging our team that I know we don't have Hunter, I know we don't have PJ, but we've got a lot of other scholarship players, and we need to start winning some games. And Ben, you and Ian haven't gotten a lot of play, but you're going to get a lot now. We need to figure this out. And challenging our staff a little bit. And the kids really responded. And for us to beat Wake Forest at home, as talented as they were, to go on the road and beat Boston College and then finish the season the way we did, I'm just really proud of that group. The ending was heartbreaking because I felt like we were really playing good basketball at the end, and we finally were clicking. And obviously the way it ended with the last shot, just really hurt us, hurt the hearts of a lot of our kids, because our kids believed that we could win. Now, the funny thing is, or not funny thing, but I don't know that PJ would have been able to play the next day. I really don't think he would have played because his foot was, really bothering him, and lucky to get him to play back-to-back games. And I say all that to say, man, if you can't admire the fight and the competition and the grit that we like to talk about, then it's easy to be disappointed. It's easy to be upset. We all wish we won more games. We hope that we would be another NCAA tournament team. But if you really followed us and you followed the stories and you watched our kids, you just were really impressed and pleased with the way they wouldn't give in. And we lost a million close games. We had some heartbreaking defeats. We had 2 shots at the buzzer that didn't go in. We obviously had a couple that did against us. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that's basketball, and I, as a coach, got to do a better job of figuring out ways to make sure that either we don't get into that situation or that when we do, we finish it. But as a coach of a group of guys that had to deal with a lot more than people probably realize, I'm just really proud of my team and my kids for what they were able to do. One thing that I want to mention, I think this, I know there's a level of some frustration with us in our program with wanting more and wanting more. And believe me, the guy who wants it the most is me. But I think like that last season was an example of the kind of program we have. We've had 1 losing season since I've been the head coach at Clemson. You can go through the league and almost every other school has had that or more. Most of them have had a lot more. And my point to that is like, that's what you saw in our kids fighting. We didn't talk about it. It wasn't say, hey, we're trying to have a winning season, but we fought to the end. And, people don't look at a lot of the details of our league. In the last 5 years in the ACC, we're 7th in wins. And there's some names behind us in the league that are bigger name schools. But that speaks to the consistency of the way that the kids in our program compete and fight and try to get the most out of our ability and our talent. And we don't give in. And hey, we all wish we were doing better, and we need to do better. There's another level that we're aspiring to get to, and I think we're closer than some people think. But there's also a level of consistency and competitive spirit in our program that should be a little bit more admired by some people. There's a lot of teams in our league that have 2 bad seasons in a row, then they make the tournament. Then they have a okay season, a losing season, make the tournament. Maybe they win a couple more games. And I get it, like everything is measured by the tournament, which that's fine. And that's our expectation, is to make the tournament. Like that's what we're trying to do. And we're getting to the point where, hey, we need to get in there and even do more. We need to try to get more Sweet 16s and Final Fours and those kinds of things. We can do that here.